10 minutes away from Chelsea against Spurs in the Carabao Cup semi-final second leg. Spurs leading 1-0 from the first leg, but both teams quite a lot of difficulties in terms of injuries for Tottenham. And again, off the field, manager, player issues surrounding Chelsea. They've had a real dip in form. They've lost 4 of their last 11, Chelsea. Showed very little of anything in the defeat against Arsenal last weekend. That result sparked a bit of an outburst from their manager, Maurizio Sarri. He said, and he got the translator to translate this because he wanted to speak in his native Italian so that he would be very clear. He said, "I'm extremely angry, very angry indeed. This defeat was due to our mentality more than anything else. This is something I can't accept. This group of players are extremely difficult to motivate. This is not a team that's going to be well known for its battling qualities." Fair enough?
Yeah, good comment. Very silly, I think.
Yeah?
Very silly. I mean, we've seen Mourinho falling out with the players, Nathan, criticising them publicly. And again, I know I've said it lots of time in the programme with you, I've never seen it work where a manager criticises players publicly. In other words, it's something to do with him. That's what he's saying. These are hard to motivate. But that's what managers do. That's what good managers do. They don't upset their players. And then he made a comment, I think, later on about Hazard. I think Hazard said something in one of the Belgian papers or something, didn't he? To say that, you know, that he's... He get on with all the coaches.
Yeah, he said, I frustrated all my coaches with Sarri once again. I frustrate him. I frustrated Mourinho. I frustrated Conte. They think that I need to mark more to do this, to do that. The next coach I have, I'll frustrate him as well. But I've won everything in England.
Yeah. And Sarri then responded by saying, I wish he would do his talking on the pitch rather than in the papers. Well, he started all the talk in the papers. It's him that started it from last week. These players are very difficult to motivate, right? Now, what he's done is he's played Hazard up front. In the reason, I don't think he's playing up front tonight. But Hazard is not a front man. He does his best work, there's no doubt, coming from a deep position. And he also criticised Conte early on the season about Jorginho. Jorginho, isn't that his name?
Yeah, Jorginho.
Yeah. To say that, you know, Conte didn't have the qualities to do that. Well, you know, he's done it for the last 3 or 4 years, winning the biggest trophies going.
Probably been the most consistent midfielder in the Premier League over the last 3 years.
And Jorginho hasn't been that good at all. I think he's been a huge disappointment. So he went out of his way to criticise Conte for not being able to do what Jorginho supposed to do, and he's not doing it. So it's a very, very mixed up situation. Actually, he'd be better off keeping his mouth shut. Like, he's telling Hazard to keep his mouth shut, but I can't see where this is getting him any benefit from the players. Because players look and say, this is rubbish. You know, this is what happened with Mourinho. And the funny thing about the Chelsea players, last year I think they were big, very influential in getting rid of Conte, right? Now, I thought Conte was brilliant. Conte won the league and he won the cup in 2 seasons, but they didn't like this about him, they didn't like that about him. Conte didn't go out of his way to have the players like him. And all the great managers I've ever known never went out of the way for the players to like them.
So does that not then mean that the players are the problem? That they got rid of a Mourinho type character, they get rid of a Conte type character, that there's no manager that's good enough for them. Whatever it is within that dressing room, they can't seem to come together behind one figure.
I think that's a very good point. But Sarri is not gone out of his way to be on the proper side of it either. You know, to be fair to Conte didn't come out and criticise the players at all. He did his job. And see, some of the great managers I've known from players in the past, there's very few players actually liked the manager. They respected the manager. And the manager didn't want to be liked. He wanted the respect. You know, go back over a long time. I met a man called Sam Cullis, was the manager of Wolverhampton in the late 40s, one of the great managers of all time, won the league, won the cup in 1949 and league 3 times, and he was a great manager. And I spoke to a famous player in Manchester about 10 or 12 years ago called Peter Broadbent, one of the great players for Wolves. And I said, how did you get on with Cullis, you know, the great manager? He said, he's the biggest so-and-so I ever met in my life, but he was a great manager.
Yeah.
You know, there's very few players actually like them, and the managers don't want to be liked. Or they might want to be liked, but they want to be respected. And in this case, with Sarri doing what he's doing, and the Chelsea players, you know, they didn't like Conte, and they got rid of him. They did. There's no doubt they got rid of him. But I think when Conte, if you go back on Conte never criticised his players publicly, despite the fact that he wasn't getting on with them. It was the players that were doing all the talking about it. And this case, this with Sarri, Sarri now is criticising the players, and that's not going to help either. So you might be right. I don't know what sort of players they have at Chelsea. Maybe who are they going to get that they like? You know, but I'd say in Conte's case, I mean, Conte, they were beaten in the cup final, weren't they, for the double, wins the league, wins it in 2 seasons, right? Like, what's there to complain about? You know.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're winning things, the players usually want to win things, they put up with the manager. But Sarri has won nothing in his early days. And I think it's generally agreed in football, people that I know, that Hazard playing up front doesn't work, right? Because Hazard definitely does his best work coming from a deep position. Now, I think they've changed it tonight. I think Giroud's
playing tonight, yeah. But as a player, do you not have to trust your manager and look at what he's trying to do and say, OK, Morata's out of form, Giroud, he doesn't seem to trust either. He wants me to do a job here. I've got to go and do it to the best of my ability.
Well, I think Giroud has done that. And I think Hazard has done that. I think Hazard has done his best. Hazard is not out on the pitch saying, this is not my position. I haven't seen any lack of effort from the team. I mean, it's Sarri that's causing the problem here, definitely, because he said that these players are very difficult to motivate. I mean, you can't say anything worse about a group of players than that, Nathan.
And you can't motivate
He's the manager.
Because you do look at that group, Kante, Giroud, Pedro, they've all won a World Cup. Players in this squad have won Champions League. They've been had very successful careers. Yeah. Whereas Sarri as a manager, he's had over 2 decades as a manager. He's had 16 different clubs. He's literally never won a trophy.
Yeah. Well, we can only go on what he's doing now. What if you look at Kante playing? Could you ever accuse Kante of not having a go?
Was that a fatal error, do you think, when the season's not done yet and Chelsea could turn things around and win a Europa League or win tonight and get through to a Carabao Cup?
They won't do anything.
But moving Kante, having him been so crucial for Chelsea, for Leicester, in that central midfield role, to decide to somehow upset him.
Yeah, well, that was a bad move. I mean, I think that's bad management. I mean, Kante gives everything he's got in every game he plays, wherever he plays. Even I think Sarri's made a mistake in buying Jorginho instead of buying a top class right-sided midfield player, because he's put Kante out. This guy, I think Jorginho is not as good as Kante doing what Kante does in the middle of the field. I think he's made a mistake in that. And also, early on the season, he criticised Kante. He said Kante doesn't have the ability to do what's needed to be done in that position. Well, as you say, he's won 2 league championship, a cup, World Cup, and you know he's a terrific player. He's not a great player on the ball, but he's very good on the ball, and his defensive play is ideal. Is brilliant because you hear about now he's a holding midfield player and he's the best defensive midfield player, which he is. He's one of the best, but he's also one of the best going forward. So I think that Sarri made a mistake. I think I'm telling you my opinion. He should have bought a top class right-sided midfield player and leave Kante where he is. Now he switched it around. I don't think Jorginho is doing it well in the middle field at all, and Kante is doing his stuff on it. Whatever you put Kante.
What is Jorginho doing?
Well,
he comes across and his stats show that he's one of these 100 passes a game, never misplaces one.
Well, you won't if you're passing sideways and backwards. You know, like any player that goes out on the pitch trying to keep possession of the ball, you could, like as a midfield player, you could have 100. You go through your career with 99% possession. Yeah. If you get on the ball and you pass to the fullback, right, instead of getting on the ball and turning, and what happens when you're playing in midfield, the first thing you do, what I was taught was a kid with Jimmy Murphy and my father and that, get turned on as quick as you can. First thing you look for is there a through ball on. That's the first thing you look for. If a through ball is not on, then you're looking for something else, right? And now what lads in Jorginho doing, first of all, his first option is to give it to the fullback. He doesn't turn on it to hit the chancy ball. Like, in other words, if the forward's making a break for you and he's off the shoulder of the fullback, the centre back, as you say, it's worth the chance to do it. Sometimes it'll be cut out, but it's worth the chance. So that's an uncompleted pass, they call it now. Whereas if I was playing now and I got on the ball and there's that one on, that chancy one on, and I'm thinking about my stats, I wouldn't hit it. I'd pull out of it and give it to the fullback, and I get 100% for that. So the stats in that situation is nonsense. And that's why the stats of Jorginho is very good.
Did he misread the situation in the summer then, Sarri? Because Jorginho last year for Napoli was such a key part of everything that Napoli did and the style of football, that everything went through him. That coming to a new club, coming to a new country.
Did you see that happening?
Yeah, well, from the bits you would see of Napoli in Europe, he looked very good.
Yeah,
but I'm wondering if when you go to a new club, do you maybe need to leave the past behind, and you can have your style of football, but you need to work with the players there, rather than, it seems, upsetting somebody like Kante, such a great professional, such a good player, just to fit in your own guy?
Well, that's what he's done. You know, I mean, Kante's a great lad. He goes out and plays. But what I've seen of him, I didn't see much of him at Napoli at all, and I couldn't give you I couldn't tell you what he was like enough. I only see what he's playing at Chelsea, and he's not doing that. You know, he's playing it sideways. He's playing well, and his stats are great. You know, and I don't see why, if you're playing the Premiership and race to Italy, if you can do it in Italy, then you do it here. That's what you do as a midfield player. You know, I don't know, but all I see is what he's playing. He's not effective. He doesn't win tackles. I don't think he's quick on the ball. He doesn't beat players. And in the meantime, Kante, who could do most of those things in the way he did it, would be a far better player than this particular player. And he's playing right-hand side. And publicly, Sarri said he doesn't have the ability to. I mean, he was totally insulting Kante, in my opinion. And so therefore, he's not to blame. If what I see on the pitch, I think he's made a mistake in putting Jorginho in there and putting Kante wide. Now, he's not having that. What he's saying, no, I'm right.
Yeah.
He's put Hazard up front for a long, 10 matches now. It doesn't work. Hasn't worked. Now, he might be changing it tonight. But he's had
But also they brought in Higuain, so that'll probably change as well.
They need somebody up front. Morata hasn't been doing it. Giroud only does it now and again. So they do need a top line forward.
Is there a way of turning this around, though? Because, so as you said, like, players don't need to like a manager, but when it gets into this tit for tat in interviews and in the media, you can imagine the situation at the Chelsea training ground. The players are coming together in the morning, they're bitching and moaning, they're wondering what's going on. Yeah, is it easy as a manager when that sort of atmosphere sets in?
He's created that. You see, when I was talking about the great Stan Cullis and Ferguson, like, they didn't do it publicly. You know, they did it in the privacy of the dressing. Like, going back to Fergie, Fergie did a hairdryer, was famous, the hairdryer. I don't know who he gave it to. He wouldn't protect the players publicly. Sarri is doing the opposite. And players hate that. Yeah. That's why they be getting together. See what that so-and-so son has done this morning. In other words, he's having a go at us all. It's nothing to do with him. That's that's where you get the bad atmosphere in the club. Like Mourinho did it. Mourinho was criticising 10 players publicly. Yeah. So then they do get together and say, what about this so-and-so criticising us publicly? If he did it privately, and what he's saying in effect was, Hazard has done it. I'm proven to be right with Hazard. I've done it. I've proven to be right with Kante, right? And the fact that they're getting beaten a few matches, then it's hard to motivate these players. So it's nothing to do with him, all the bad stuff. That's how players fall out with the manager.
But I'm wondering, when it's so obvious then that publicly criticising your players is going to have a negative effect, why would you do it? And if the only reason you can think of is that he's left with nothing else, that he's looked around that dressing room and nothing else has worked.
Well, but putting another negative on it doesn't make it work, Nathan. You know, you can only go on what's there. I don't know what he's doing. I'm only looking from a distance. And what I see from a distance, that I think he's made a mistake with Kante. I think he's criticised Kante in a certain way. He's not able to do it. And then he goes to Giroud, who's in the team, and he's out of the team. But most of the time he's played Hazard up front. It hasn't worked, right? And what he's saying about Hazard is he does this okay, he does that okay, but he's not a leader. Yeah. You know, like, why does he have to bring that in? You know, you don't have to. If he feels that way, then don't play him. Yeah. You know, you don't have to do anything publicly. And when you do it publicly in a critical way, in my experience, you don't get a good spirit among the club. That's when the players do get together and say, "You hear what this guy was doing?" You know, that's the way, and that's the way he is at the moment. And now, out of the blue, he's brought Giroud back into the team, right? Now, he's saying in the paper on the other day, Hazard is doing what he's doing. I think it's right to do it. Now he's left out. Well, he hasn't left him out. He actually put him in a position that I believe he should have been in since the start of the season.
All right, that is Chelsea. We are going to talk about Spurs as well, and there's a couple of other things we want to get to. John is live in the studio. 53106 is the text number if you want to get in touch. We're all live on all our social channels as well. You can leave a comment if you have any questions. Quick break though.
Football on Off the Ball.
Brought to you by the new and improved Boyle Sports Bet Builder. Now with 44 markets to choose from on every match.
For 40 years, Finline Furniture have been making Ireland's finest sofas, chairs and corner groups from our factory in County Laois. All quality sofas and chairs can be made to any size or comfort level and are Irish made with a 20-year construction guarantee. The annual Finline Furniture January sale takes place in our showrooms in Dublin, Cork, Laois and brand new showrooms now open in Galway. Hugely reduced sale discount prices available for the month of January only. Thousands of fabrics available. See finlinefurniture.ie.
Time to own the Audi you've always wanted, because until February 28th, you can enjoy the Audi Q2 with a complimentary convenience pack, saving you over €2,600. So, all you have to do is choose the colour. Call into your local Audi dealer during the 191 sales event. Terms and conditions apply while stocks last.
It's a new year, so it's out with the old and in with the new. At CompuB, your Apple experts, you can now save up to €500 on any new Mac by simply trading in your old Mac. As if upgrading wasn't reward enough. CompuB. Real value, real service and real Apple experts. Minimum trade-in value €100. See compub.com for full terms and conditions.
If you're thinking of buying a residential rental property, ICS Mortgages can provide an excellent range of flexible buy-to-let mortgages, including interest-only terms of up to 15 years. We'll also help you to refinance your existing portfolio and grow your property investments. Call 1890 427 427, visit icsmortgages.ie or contact your local mortgage broker. ICS Mortgages, the property investor's choice. Lending criteria, terms and conditions apply and are subject to change. The entire amount that you have borrowed will still be outstanding at the end of the interest-only period. Dilosk DAC, trading as Dilosk and ICS Mortgages, is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
When you're a small business, you always want to find the biggest savings. When it comes to your energy, that means going direct to Energia. Go direct to save more. Call 1850 363 744 or visit energia.ie/business. Energia. The power behind even bigger savings. Standard terms and conditions apply.
With a new car ad every minute on Done Deal, it's easy to choose one that's right for you. Whether you're planning the ultimate road trip or the school pickup, find the perfect car for any adventure on Done Deal. Discover and drive.
Holiday World Show is on this weekend at the RDS with lots of hot deals exclusive to the show. Let's talk travel with Owen Corrie, holidays at home and worldwide, caravans, camping and motorhomes, dream cruises, honeymoon and wedding destinations. Holiday World Show, RDS Dublin this Friday to Sunday.
The new Erbauer Power Tools range is now available at screwfix.ie, including the new EXT battery, compatible with EXT power tools and with the new Keep Cool technology. Grab the new Erbauer 18-volt brushless combi drill, only $117.95. Includes the 4-amp-hour battery too. So, visit screwfix.ie today. While stocks last. Price is valid until March 3rd. Visit screwfix.ie for delivery fee info and T's and C's.
Football on Off the Ball.
Brought to you by Boyle Sports. Now with same-day withdrawals to your Visa debit card.
You're welcome back. John Giles is in studio. There's 7.5 minutes gone between Chelsea and Spurs. Still scoreless at Stamford Bridge, so Spurs 1-0 up on aggregate in that. Thierry Henry, the news broke just before we came on air that he's been suspended by Monaco. It looks as though he's going to be fired. 2 wins in 20 matches. Hasn't really worked out for him. Put it mildly.
Put it mildly. No, I heard, listened to your programme beforehand, somebody saying he had a bad time with injuries and various things. Well, I don't want to be too cruel on him now. He was a great player, but I saw him on the television doing the analysis of various things, I would never have employed him as a manager. Never. Because if you analysis is analysis. Analysis is not an opinion. Analysis is a fact, and it either makes sense or it doesn't make sense. And any time I saw Thierry Henry doing the analysis, which is a huge percentage of the game, the knowledge to impart to the team that you're taking over, there were strokes all over the place, and I didn't know what he was on about, right? I mean, if you're analysis, like knowledge equates to simplicity, right? And if you're doing the analysis, then anybody watching it, she's like, I can understand that. That makes sense. Now, I'm an ex-professional footballer, and when I saw Thierry doing the analysis, I didn't know what he was talking about. He lost me. There were strokes going up here, and there were strokes going down there, and there were strokes going down there. I couldn't follow him.
So he's confusing himself as much as...
Well, it means he hasn't got the knowledge to reduce it to simplicity. And I thought, well, look, if he's doing that to us on the television, what's he going to be doing to the players? When you're managing a team, right, and just on the analysis on the telly, you're doing strokes all over the place. He's going to be saying the same to the players. You know what I mean? Like, that's what good analysis is all about, that people can understand it, but understand it in a professional way. Oh, that makes sense. Like, I saw strokes all over the place. The fullback and I'm lost.
So if he's bringing that into a dressing room, you're just overloading players with information.
He has to be bringing it in the dressing room, Nathan. If he's doing it on the television, then these analysis is going to it's not going to be different on the television to what he's doing in the dressing room. So when I saw him getting the job, I just didn't. That's probably a nice fellow. I don't know him at all. He was a great player. But what I saw on the television, if I was a club owner or director, from what I saw on the television, I definitely wouldn't appoint him as a manager.
It's incredible, that bug that's there towards coaching and management with punditry. So, like, Thierry Henry was on huge money, like $4 million a year with Sky, yet still wasn't satisfied, wanted to get back in the training ground, wanted to go and coach. Like Keith Andrews, as today, just, you know, giving up his Keith Andrews show here and off the ball to go in and work as Stephen Kenny's under-21 assistant. Paul Scholes had some really interesting comments as well about almost feeling he felt there was a lack of achievement maybe in the punditry side of it. He didn't have anything to work towards at the end of the week that gave him the same satisfaction as
you're never going to have
the
same satisfaction of playing, Nathan. You know, that's a well-known thing in football. Management and coaching is the second thing that you want to do, and that you do that because you finished playing. I mean, Scholes was a great player. I think he was one of the great players, in my opinion. And where he might have slipped up a bit, if he felt that way, like he's 5 years out of the game now, I think initially he should have gone into management. You know, once it goes 5 years, like you see Gerrard retired, went into, he was on the television a bit, but not Lampard the same, you know, and Scholes was around the same era as them. They would short time on the telly, but they went into management. I think Scholes has probably left it too long, you know, to be at the height of getting a job. I think he'll get a job. He's starting about going to Oldham.
It's home.
But you know, it wouldn't be a great place to start it. I think they're having a very, very bad time.
Yeah.
And when he's on the television, because he's quite straightforward, to say the least, on the television. I don't think it would appeal to many of the directors to hire this guy. And in the meantime, you know, he was a great player. He's played for a long time. And what he's actually saying, he's missing it. He's missing it, and that's very sad. I find that sad.
Yeah.
That I think, like, at the career that he had, he should be finishing, or hopefully finishing, satisfied with what he did, rather than looking for something to keep him satisfied.
He said, you want to fight for something. It's just the frustration of not being involved in something worth fighting for. And a lot of those players, Lampard, Gerrard, Scholes, maybe they go into punditry and think, I won't miss it. And then something clicks 6 months in and...
But he's 5 years out of it, Nathan. He's 5 years out of finished from playing. You know, if you look at Lampard and Gerrard, they weren't out of it for long. You know, before they went into management. Was it a year, 2 years at the most since Gerrard was out of it?
Give yourself... football is his life. Football is still everything in his life. That quite often... It's hard to find other interests. It's like a game of golf only gets you so far.
It's very difficult. That's why I'm not having a go at Scholes. I feel sorry for him. I feel sad for him that he's not happy in having done what he did. That he's missed it. I mean, I mixed with the players. Norman Hunt said, "Do you miss it, John?" I said, "I don't, Norman. No, I don't miss it." Well, I played till I was 39. I don't want to be talking about myself, but no, I said, I do. I still really miss it. Like, everybody's different, right? I mean, when I finished playing, it was a bit of
what did he miss? The camaraderie.
Yeah, it's
in the dressing room.
It's the life. It's the life of it. Yeah, and the playing on Saturday and doing. When you're an ex-player, you'll never do anything better than you did when you were playing football, because that's what you were blessed to do. So it's very, very. And then you see,
might Scholes be in for a bit of a shock even when he goes into management. That there might still be something missing.
Yeah, but it'll need to keep him occupied.
Yeah.
But if you say, like, a lot of players say, "Oh, it's still in my blood," and I think, "Oh God, I hate to hear that." You know, like, I was very I finished my shares, right. That's that done. A bit of a relief, to be quite honest, in it. But when all players are different, so Norman said to me, "Oh, I really miss it," and I can understand it, because the excitement that you have and the life that you lead. You know, I think I might have said to you before, you go into football when you're 15, right? and you finish when you're 35 and you're still only 15. It's an unreal world, Nathan. And you have the excitement of it, going out on Saturday, big crowd there and all those various things. And that stops. A lot of lads love it, really love it, and they miss it when it's happening. I think that's happened with Scholes. Scholes is not an outgoing character where you could say, well, he's going to be the life and soul of a party or having a good time. He doesn't seem to be that type of lad. And the thing he did best in his life was playing football, and he did it brilliantly. And it's 5 years since he's still talking about missing it. Now I find that, what is he now? He's 40 odd.
Yeah, 44.
44, like I'd love to hear from him. I played my stuff, I did my stuff, I loved it, and I'm enjoying it.
Chapter.
Yeah. Move on.
Yeah.
Move on with it,
We're tight on time, unfortunately, John. We're going to have to leave it there. There was a whole lot more we wanted to get to. Hopefully we'll get to it next week. It is, quarter of an hour gone in that game at Stamford Bridge. Chelsea 0, Spurs 0 in the Carabao Cup semi-final second leg. Spurs still 1-0 up on aggregate. That'll all be up on offtheball.com if you want to listen back to what John was saying. Breach Stack is in studio with us next.
Get up-to-the-minute news updates at newstalk.com.